Welcome to Rediscover the Verde Valley. I'm Christian Oliva Del Rio, President CEO for the Cottonwood Chamber of Commerce. And with me today is an old friend. I've known Tracie for, at least
over a decade.
12 years, yeah. Tracie Schimikowsky. She is my new Chief Operations Officer for the Chamber of Commerce. Welcome.
Thank you, Christian, and I am definitely glad to be part of the team.
I know, it's great.
And back in the chamber world.
Back in the chamber world, because you've had quite a stint. You've made your rounds there, haven't you?
I did.
Which is good, though, because that experience I'm tapping into.
and we can definitely do that.
We can.
That is for sure. So, you and I have known each other since 2007, I believe.
Yeah, 7 is when I started with the Cottonwood Chamber. So,
right,
yeah.
and I was at the Camp Verde Chamber at that point in time, making my way through the ranks.
Right.
Started out as an executive assistant and worked my way up through tourism and membership, and ultimately the CEO.
It's funny, we have a very similar path through the chamber world that we
do.
started. I mean, I started as Debbie Wilden's executive assistant as well, so, and kind of just, you learn every aspect of it, and, it's kind of a benefit of a small chamber, right? We get to wear multiple hats.
Yes.
I mean, I've even been janitor.
Me too.
Yeah.
Change
light bulbs.
Yes, change light bulbs, clean toilets.
Really, because we've got a couple bulbs out in the office I want you to change.
Might be a little too short.
I'll get you a ladder.
Oh,
So Tracie, you've got a long history here in the Verde Valley as well, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I have lived in the Verde Valley since 1978.
Wow.
I moved here from Ohio.
Wow. Yeah.
Excuse me. As a freshman in high school. So I am a graduate of Mingus.
That's awesome.
I know,
Yeah.
right? It seems so hard to believe that was back in
Right.
1982. Oh my goodness sakes.
We're not giving dates.
darn. But my first job here was with the Bank of Verde Valley, as far as in the professional world, so to speak. I mean, this is out of high school.
Yeah.
You have your typical high school jobs, McDonald's, Dairy Queen, that kind of stuff. But stepping out of high school, I worked for the Bank of Verde Valley, and that bank doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't, right.
It is long gone. So that started my banking career. And then I went over to California. We did move out of state at that time, and I worked in corporate banking. Funnest thing I ever did there was a treasury specialist.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah. What'd you
That-
get to do? What made it so fun?
I traded Fed funds on a daily basis.
Oh,
so I got
wow.
to work with multi-millions of dollars on paper.
Yeah. You didn't actually get
It
to
looked
touch
good.
huh?
No, I didn't get to touch it.
No.
But I moved back here soon after that, and there was no corporate banking.
Right.
So I stepped into the hospitality world,
Yeah.
which launched my HR career.
Right.
So I had, a few places where I was a director of HR and going through some changes. You know how the Verde Valley is, or any region really, where companies, go through changes and.
Yeah, being a rural community, you've seen a lot of changes in this particular community, right? And we actually do have some commercial banking now, don't we?
We do. We do have commercial banking.
Right, some things have changed.
Definitely,
so, yeah,
definitely.
So hospitality world, you went and then led into the chamber world?
Eventually, I did take a 3-year, kind of leave of absence from working. At that point in time, my kids were in high school. I had the opportunity to be able to be at home.
Right, nice.
So I enjoyed that. And then in 2005, I decided it was time to go back to work. Of course, again, rural community, there's not any human resources jobs.
Yeah.
So I stepped into the Chamber of Commerce world.
Right.
Which was phenomenal because
It's
all
fun,
of my
isn't it?
skills, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun, it's different, it changes on a regular basis. So all of my skills from banking, finance, investments, HR.
It's interesting how the chamber world kind of, it does. It encompasses quite a few different industries, different skill sets, and it's great to be exposed to all those kind of things too. With over 500 members that we have, we on a daily basis are dealing. Daily, our job changes depending on who we have to work with and deal with, right?
Absolutely. And understanding those industries and when to connect with them and when not to connect with them, because you're going to have your busy times and you definitely don't want to pick up the phone and call a restaurant at noon and say, hey, I really need to talk to you today. So, it's all about timing and being able to adapt and just kind of do something different throughout the day, because sitting doing the same thing all day.
No, right, and sitting and doing nothing. I kind of. That's one of the things I actually like about the job is it does seem like we're doing something constantly. Right?
We are,
and
always moving.
Man, there are no dull moments in our office.
No, definitely not.
Whether it's dealing with membership or it's dealing with tourists coming into the area.
Correct.
Being exposed to all kinds of different things. In fact, just the other day it was nice because Glenda, one of our volunteers in the visitor center, came back and said, "Hablas español?" And I said, "Un poco." And she said, "Good, I need you to come up front and talk to this guy." So I got to go up front and meet a gentleman from Mexico who actually operates a bus tour company out of Mexico.
Okay.
And they have already got contracts with some of the casinos in Las Vegas area, and they bring roughly 40 to 50 Mexican tourists into Nevada and go to Las Vegas, and they're looking for doing some trips up here to the Verde Valley as well.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
So, you get exposed to a lot of different types of businesses and types of people, so it's exciting.
It is very exciting, and what's nice too is my family is here.
Right.
So I get to be here, have my family nearby. My kids are grown.
You mentioned kids, so how many kids and grandkids, right?
I do. Yeah. I have two kids.
Right.
A daughter who is 30 and a son who's 33, and then I have two grandsons. One is 7 and one is just a little over a year old.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I got to meet your grandson the other day in the office too. That's another nice thing about our office is that it's always open and inviting, right?
Right, exactly. And he doodled on the whiteboard and drew me all kinds of stuff.
And so we're training him early to fill Grandma's position.
Yes, exactly. That's it. He can
teaching
take
him
over.
The chamber world and teaching him how to take care of all of our community, right?
Absolutely. Very, very true.
So your work history. So you obviously started in the Camp Verde Chamber.
I did.
And then moved yourself up through the ranks there and ended up being the CEO there, correct?
That is correct.
Right. And
I was the CEO for 4 years. So I was actually at the Camp Verde Chamber in total for 7 years.
Yeah.
And the last 4 I was the executive.
Right.
Responsible for, as we know, all things chamber. But that particular chamber was a tourism chamber.
Right.
We had a lot of destination drivers. Everybody, it was kind of that stopping point for people where they could come in and either eat or shop, depending on, what it is they wanted to do.
Sure.
But we grew the tourism base in that chamber. We also won the Arizona Office of Tourism Spirit of Service Award.
That's
so
great.
that was really fun too for the intergenerational volunteer program that we set up with a local charter school.
That's awesome. Yeah. So how does that work? Because that's something I'd love to see come to our chamber too, right?
Right, exactly, and it's easily implemented as long as we have a charter school that is a willing partner, and basically the kids the students would come and volunteer for an hour a week.
Right.
They would get school credit. It gives them life skills.
Yeah.
It teaches them how
Gives
to read
them
a map.
Some social skills, right?
That
Instead
too.
of social media skills,
Exactly.
we need some social skills, right?
Exactly.
Interacting with people.
Right.
That's incredible.
It was incredible, and they learned a lot from our elderly volunteers. We had one volunteer; she was like 93, if I remember rightly. So, so they learned a lot, and then our volunteers had also learned a lot from the students. It was a really neat partnership.
That's awesome.
And I was glad that we were able to do it. So I think that implementing something like that could be done.
Yeah,
could be done.
I'm looking forward to that.
And get our young professionals launched.
Right.
In the early stages of school.
Yeah, we definitely need to start reaching out to them now and at earlier ages to get them thinking about what is it that I want to be when I grow up.
Exactly.
And I think an even more important part is getting them to actually realize that there are things here within our Verde Valley that they can do.
Yes.
There's a lot of opportunity.
Very true.
Tell you what, we're going to take a very quick break here, and then when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about some of those opportunities and how we're going to move our chamber towards them, all right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Great. Come back after the break. Thank you.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
There are people who struggle with addiction and homelessness. Sometimes it may feel like there is nothing we can do to help.
But there is. You can make a tax-deductible donation and help those in need transition away from homelessness.
When you give someone a handout, you could actually be supporting an addiction.
A better life starts with better health, especially for those living in the streets.
Support solutions, not addictions. You can make a difference. Visit cottonwoodcares.com.
Welcome back to Rediscover the Verde Valley. Again, I'm Christian Oliva Del Rio with the Cottonwood Chamber of Commerce. And with me again is one of my best friends, Tracie Schimikowsky, and my new partner in crime, my Chief Operations Officer, soon to be VP.
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah. Wait a minute, I need to. Never mind. Anyways, we were talking a little bit about your history, your chamber experience, and obviously you ran the Camp Verde Chamber there for 7 years, and then shortly after that you ended up moving over to Chino Valley as well, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I was there almost 2 years.
Right. So kind of different.
Very much so. So they didn't have quite the tourism base like Camp Verde has. They were very much a program-oriented fundraising chamber.
Right.
So we had several fundraisers throughout the year, but they were all about membership and programs for the membership, sponsorships, engagement, all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of interesting though because that pulls us. So we have a reputation of being a strictly tourism chamber, and we've had multiple conversations about this. Is trying to change that perspective that there is a lot more that our chamber does in the community, right?
That is correct.
I like that I'm going to be able to tap into your experience here with programs of work that our chamber could potentially adopt from your experience with these other two chambers and how we can implement some of those things. So let's talk the Cottonwood Chamber. Let's what have you done so far?
What have I done so far? Well, let's see. I've worked behind the scenes for you there for a little bit.
For a little bit, yeah.
Working on the 501c3 for the wine trail.
Right. We definitely want to see that expand out, huh?
We do, and we have sent off the initial articles to the Corporation Commission for their review, which will, allow us to have different revenue streams, to do things for the community.
Right. There's a difference, and I'm not sure that maybe the viewers don't understand, is that there's a difference between our chamber is actually a 501c6 nonprofit organization, which consists of, it's a membership-based nonprofit. So we're not the tax deduction or the charitable contribution that a 501c3 is.
That's correct.
So that's kind of the difference there, and the benefit of having a C3 is that we could potentially, we can write for grants to get proper funding to come in for a specific project that we might want to work on, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
I mean, and the chamber can write for grants as well, but it's a different grant pool.
Sure.
Anything from the chamber side is generally, an expense, whereas the C3, as you mentioned, is the actual donation tax write-off.
Right.
We could look for all kinds of avenues of revenue streams with the C3 to be able to provide maybe some scholarships.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I would like to see happen is, again, in talking about chamber world versus a tourism world, and what I think a lot of people need to understand is that tourism is economic development.
It is.
It is. It brings people in, it brings jobs, it brings workforce, all these things. So let's talk a little bit more about Chino and maybe some of the projects that they've done that were a little bit geared towards their members and
Okay.
How did that work? Yeah.
Well, we also worked on economic development. So the membership we created, or they already had basically intact, were sponsorship levels to where those members could, sponsor areas within the visitors center, so to speak, or within the chamber office, where they would have additional exposure. We did a lot of things through Chamber Master, offering enhanced listings and postings and
so Chamber Master, so if people don't know, that's our database that we use, and it's a way that we track the members and how they're engaged with us and how we can service them better.
Exactly, but also at the same token, whenever they post any type of an event or we can also, or their listing, we can see how many hits it gets.
Right.
So how many people have actually tapped into that particular link as far as that event or their business.
Right, and so again, another huge benefit that maybe a lot of our members don't actually realize is that they are listed within our online directory.
Correct.
So cottonwoodchamberaz.org is the website. And we have an online directory there.
Right.
And the community or whoever is searching can actually go to our online directory and do a keyword search, let's say painters.
Sure.
And they'll get a list of chamber members that are painters.
Right.
And when you click on that listing, our basic listings give a general description and contact information, whether it's phone, email, or both.
Correct.
But we then do have enhanced listings where they can actually spice that up. So they may not have their own website, and this is actually a way for them to actually have that online presence and enhance it, right?
Right, because that enhanced listing actually brings them to the top of the listing page.
Right. So when you're doing the search, they're at the top of the search, right? So there's benefits to that.
Exactly.
So, right.
Some of the other things we did, we worked with Epic Gravel Rides to bring the Chino Grinder, which is the off-road, cycle race from Chino Valley to Williams, back behind Perkinsville and all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
So that was a huge event. Yeah. We also did, and we'll I'm sure get into this in a little bit. We weren't politically active, so we didn't have a PAC, and not all chambers do.
Right.
But we represented the interest of business with government, and we helped support, behind an economic development bond.
Right.
Now, granted, that bond didn't pass, but at the same token, it would have brought infrastructure to Chino Valley, which I'm hoping at some point in time, they're able to bring that all back in again so that they do have growth.
One nice thing about the chamber world is and at every conference that we've ever gone to, R&D, right, is the term. It's
rip off and duplicate.
Rip off and duplicate. So that's one nice thing about our chamber world is that all of our chamber colleagues are definitely willing to give us. There's no sense in reinventing the wheel, right?
Right.
They work with us. We work with each other.
We do. For best practices.
Exactly. And ultimately, the end game is the same. We want to represent our communities. We want to represent the businesses in our community, and we want to have a thriving life and workforce and economic development, right? So
exactly, and tourism does bring that as well. So you figure, if somebody comes into the community and they visit the community, they may decide to move here.
Right.
So
tell me, what's your vision for the Cottonwood Chamber? And before you do, you got to make sure that you need to clear it with me first.
You mean I can't just do it and ask for forgiveness later?
No, you can. I actually trust you that you can.
My vision is, first off, bringing to life the tiered membership dues.
Right.
You and I have talked about that. It does offer more options for the membership to be able to have an investment that meets their business strategy.
Right.
Instead of a one-size-fits-all, that doesn't work for everybody.
Sure.
So having, 2 or 3 different levels, and then having sponsorships on top of that can give some other...
So kind of an a la carte menu, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so,
exactly.
Right. I think it's a smart move. Many of the chambers are already doing that because, we do have a segment of our membership that doesn't want to network, doesn't want to, attend a mixer or a breakfast and be that engaged in the chamber, but they want the exposure and they want the chamber name behind their business. And so, there's different opportunities and levels for them to
very
explore,
much so,
right?
And it's okay if a member doesn't have the time. There, sometimes the sole proprietorships or the single owners don't really have the time to get out and network.
Right.
the value of their membership far exceeds, you know, the investment that they're paying.
Right.
And to give an example, in Chino Valley, you know, our value was $1,200 for the member that may just not have time, you know, to do and be out and about to talk to those other individuals. So, you know, having those tiered dues to be able to meet their strategic needs to grow their business is going to help. Getting that 501c3, you know, moving forward for the Verde Valley Wine Trail, you know, and obviously it's going to take some partnerships with that as well. So it's not just us, you know, working with the wine consortium.
Exactly, and all the vineyards and the tasting rooms that are in the area. I mean, that's
we're going to need their input.
That is actually the largest growing industry in our area, and we need to recognize that and work with it and expand on that. So. I know. We want to talk.
We want to talk.
But we're going to end up taking another break here. And when we come back, we can focus a little bit more on some of our goals and our vision, because we share this same vision.
We do.
I'm excited about this. So
me too.
Take another quick one.
Sounds good.
We'll see you in just a minute.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
There are people who struggle with addiction and homelessness. Sometimes it may feel like there is nothing we can do to help.
But there is. You can make a tax-deductible donation and help those in need transition away from homelessness.
When you give someone a handout, you could actually be supporting an addiction.
A better life starts with better health, especially for those living in the streets.
Support solutions, not addictions. You can make a difference. Visit cottonwoodcares.com.
Welcome back to Rediscover the Verde Valley. I'm Christian Oliva Del Rio, Chamber CEO, and with me today is Tracie Schimikowsky, and she's my new Chief Operations Officer. So we've had some pretty good talks.
We have.
And we've been talking about a lot of this for years, haven't we?
We have.
And so
we have.
I'm so excited that we actually are finally able to come together and put our heads together and make our chamber
exactly
a great chamber. Yeah.
You know, and just take it and you know, expand on what's already been built, what was already started by you know, previous executives, and just, you know, keep it growing. One of the other things I think would be really neat to have for our chamber is a young professionals group, and getting our young entrepreneurs involved. Yeah. You know, with not just the chamber but the community.
Right. We do have a lot of young professionals out there, and one of the biggest challenges for chambers all over the country really is, and we hear this at every conference that we go to, right? That engaging that young entrepreneur.
Exactly.
And actually young professionals, again, like we were talking about with the schools, is getting into the schools and showing them that there are opportunities here within our Verde Valley for them to stay here, that, you know, hopefully we don't chase them off to Phoenix or Maricopa, and you know, we want them to stay here and contribute.
We do,
right?
We do, and you know, we also know they're going to take their own path too. But you know, we're going to encourage them to be here, and you know, one of the things that I know that you and I are working on is having a Vista worker
so
come
exciting.
in. Yes, I am excited about that. Yeah, because of you know, the background that they bring as well.
Sure, she's a college graduate in early 20s, right? And political science is part of what she's studied and graduated, and got to spend some time in Australia too. So she's she's worldly. We get to bring her to our little old Cottonwood.
Exactly, to our own little world.
Yeah. So, but that's exciting, is to get her to be engaged with our young professionals and show them, right, that
Right, exactly, and have, her or him or whoever we end up choosing for this particular process, kind of help be that voice and share, information with us and bring back information that maybe we aren't able to, tap into.
Yeah, I'm excited about different perspectives, right? And,
Me too.
I'm guilty. I'm absolutely guilty of it. We get stuck in our world, and sometimes it's kind of hard to see what else is going on out there. And this is something that you and I have been discussing about how we really want an open door policy with our chamber, right?
Definitely.
Right. So
I don't care if you're chamber member or not.
Right.
We want to hear from you.
We do. We want to hear what we can do better and how we can potentially help
exactly
our community. Right.
Because that's our goal. I mean, we have, the partnerships, with the city municipality, state parks, national parks, all of our destination drivers, I mean, and our businesses, whether, they're part of the chamber or not. We definitely want to be able to,
we definitely, we need that member engagement for sure because, we have several committees through our chamber, right? And one of them is actually government affairs, and we have a tourism committee, and
we have a membership committee.
Membership committee, exactly, and we want our members engaged in that, right? So,
and if they don't have the time to devote, I mean, even an email to us saying, hey, here's my thought,
right?
To maybe help get that conversation going, or guide us in a direction that we might not have thought of.
Yeah.
Which is also part of our program of work. I mean, these are things that are part of what WACE, or what's known as Western Association of Chamber Executives.
Correct, we're both graduates of the Academy program. It's a 3-year program, right?
Yes, 3-year program.
Right.
I have been an accredited executive previously, so that's a designation that comes, after going through the program and then having some other things completed.
Sure. Yeah.
But they have core competencies, and they really kind of overarch the business strategy of the chamber, and many of those, promoting the community, creating a strong local economy, representing the interests of business with government. I think we tapped a little bit into that earlier. You don't have to be politically active to be able to do that. And so
that's real important to me, because I think people might not understand that we are engaged in advocacy.
That is true.
Explain.
So by being engaged in advocacy, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to take sides.
Right.
You don't have to pick, whether
although it's important to in some cases.
It is. It is.
But the majority of the time, it's about getting the information out there, right, and educating people so that they can make an informed decision. So you hold candidate forums, where you have all candidates together.
Sure. You support a legislative agenda that is throughout the state. That's business friendly.
Which we do through ACE, which is Arizona Chamber Execs, right? Yeah.
So every year they create a legislative agenda that's business friendly, and the chambers support that. So the commonality of all the chambers coming together and saying, hey, legislators, this is what we think needs to happen for our business community.
Right.
And so
yeah. So that's exciting, and it's something we're working on, and getting that word out a little bit more, right? So some of the other things we got coming up, we're unfortunately out of time, and I know that we could talk about this forever, and we definitely will. You will start seeing more of Tracie.
Yes.
But we have some big events coming up that we
do.
kind of want to share with the people out there to keep an eye out. So the Regional Chamber Mixer.
Correct.
This is an annual event that we do. It's a partnership between the Cottonwood Chamber and the Sedona Chamber, and the entire Verde Valley comes to it. That's June 25th, and it'll be at the Blazin' M Ranch.
Right.
Anybody and everybody is invited to come to that.
Absolutely.
It's going to be an exciting event.
$15 if you pre-register online, $20 at the door.
Right. So excellent. Golf tournament we got coming up.
Yes, August 3rd.
August 3rd, so right in the heat of it, but it's a beautiful day out at the golf course.
Right.
And we start early enough to where it's cool, semi-cool.
In August?
Right.
Yes, true.
And then Verde River Day is also a real big event that we do in the end of September 28th, and that's out at Dead Horse Ranch State Park. And again, that's a free day at the park, and the entire community, please come out to the park, learn more about the river.
Definitely.
And everything that you can do at the state park.
That'll be a fun day.
It's a great day. So check out our calendar of events. If you have events that you want to post there, you can. There's a submit button in the top right corner.
Yep.
Please put your organizations and your clubs and whatnot, put your events on there.
You don't have to be a chamber member.
And you
to
don't
post,
have
right?
to be a chamber member. Anybody in the community can do that. So it's a great community calendar. And Tracie, I'm very excited about our future, and
me too, Christian.
I'm really looking forward to working with you. It's been a blast so far for the last couple months.
Yes, it has.
Working, so,
it's going to be fun.
It's really good stuff. So, thank you.
Absolutely,
I appreciate you, and we'll see you all again next month. Thank you.